Why aren't you saluting the general? The officer's stern voice echoed throughout the assembly hall, slicing through the murmur of soldiers like a knife. At the back stood a young woman, her arms at her sides, her posture unwaveringly erect. Yet she did not raise her hand in salute. Soldiers turned their heads, whispering amongst themselves, "Who does she think she is?" The general, a man of high esteem and decorated with tales of valor, approached her with curiosity. His voice calm yet commanding, he asked, "Is there a reason you're not saluting, miss?" She met his gaze with unwavering clarity and spoke 7 words that hung heavy in the air. "You left my unit to die, sir." The room fell silent instantly, a collective breath held in shock. Her name was Jade Nguyen. At 29, she was petite yet composed, a model of reliability, always seen in her standard tech support uniform without any ranks. She worked diligently at the remote tactical base Bravo, ensuring the smooth running of logistics and technical coordination. Every morning, without fail, Jade arrived before dawn to perform her duties. She calibrated training systems, maintained ammunition logs, organized supply inventories, and even cleaned the shooting range before anyone else set foot on it. Most officers brushed past her, indifferent to her presence, some thinking she was merely an assistant or perhaps a civilian contractor. Only a handful recognized her as the ghost in the back room. Her quiet demeanor was misleading. She could repair targeting arrays faster than junior officers and never flinched at gunfire during exercises. Her hands were steady under pressure, and she spoke fluently in the language of technical jargon, possessing a deep knowledge of weapon specifications, ballistics data, and tactical frequencies. Yet, Jade preferred to remain in the background, unnoticed, her capabilities rarely flaunted. On that fateful morning, a special event was planned. General Gregory, a celebrated war hero, was visiting to deliver a leadership speech. All personnel, military and civilian alike, lined up to salute upon his arrival. Yet Jade stood still, her arms firmly behind her back. Her lack of a salute was noticed first by a lieutenant who barked, "Civilian or not, stand at attention and salute the general." But Jade remained motionless, expressionless, her silence causing whispers to ripple through the crowd. Enticed by the commotion, the general himself stepped forward, his auburn eyes fixed on hers, his tone steady and searching. "Is there a problem here, specialist?" The tension was palpable as every eye watched, cameras rolling for a promotional piece capturing the moment. And then, her words pierced through the assemblage with profound silence. "You left my unit to die, sir." Her words weighed the air with truth. The general blinked, confused, squinting as if to pierce the fog of memory. "I don't recognize you. What unit are you referring to?" Jade's response was gentle yet thunderous. "Raven, Attention 12, Firebase Red Echo, October 15th, 2016. Her statement crashed into the room like high tide against a rocky shore. The officers around her straightened, their postures reflecting a sudden understanding, some visibly distressed, one turning an ashen pallor. An aide whispered urgently in the general's ear, but he dismissed it with a wave. I don't recall that specific operation," he stumbled, trying to recall. "You should." Jade's words were direct and laced with quiet conviction. As the ceremony dwindled into an uncomfortable silence, a major approached her in the corridor, warning her that the operation was classified. Yet Jade, undeterred, responded quietly but firmly. "I was there. I watched my captain bleed out in my arms because his command, ordered an extraction for everyone but us." That night, a young intelligence analyst named Thompson, piqued by the earlier confrontation, began to sift through archival files. He unearthed faint echoes of a forgotten after-action report nestled deep within a classified database. Raven 12 was a small reconnaissance unit consisting of 6 members, operating behind enemy lines on a surveillance mission. They'd been caught in a surprise ambush. Reports stated their emergency extraction was inexplicably redirected. Higher command's direct override rerouted them elsewhere, leaving them stranded. The report carried a painful verdict: complete unit loss, no survivors confirmed. Yet, there was an anomaly at the report's tail end, a single note. Jade Nguyen, technical sergeant, survivor status listed as unreliable due to combat trauma. This discrepancy urged Thompson to delve deeper into the records. He stumbled upon testimonies from members of a neighboring unit. They recounted the haunting sight of a ragged woman staggering into base camp 2 days post-mission, burnt and barren of supplies, yet clutching dog tags of her fallen comrades. She babbled of an override and abandonment, but official protocol debriefed her rigorously before sealing her fate in forgotten files. The revelations pieced together a harrowing picture. Thompson, armed with the truth, shared his discoveries with a covert circle of sympathetic officers. The tale spread like smoke upon a draft, weaving through halls and mess quarters. Suddenly, Jade's habitual simplicity gained new meaning. Her early mornings, her precise, meticulous work, her calm steadiness, her expertise, it all painted the portrait not of a mere support worker, but of a soldier who had been erased from existence, a hunter who had returned from the void. She was, they realized, more than an ethereal presence. They'd been overlooking a living memorial. They realized that the woman they passed by every day was the embodiment of survival amidst erasure, the solitary survivor of a doomed operation. Memories surfaced about her, how she often ate alone, how she never mingled socially. Her eyes occasionally lingered on the flag during ceremonies, though she never voiced allegiance. Her desk, discreetly cluttered with dog tags, bespoke of her silent testimony. General Gregory, upon hearing of Thompson's investigation, called for a closed-door debriefing the following morning. The atmosphere was tense as senior officers gathered within the inner sanctum, the air thick with unspoken truths and the weight of impending revelations. Jade stood amongst a crowd of authoritative uniforms, defiant but composed as the general stood to address the room, attempting to reconcile his past. His voice carried defense wrapped in carefully measured words. "I've examined the available records. I don't recall issuing an order for any team to be left behind. My combat judgments were made with the information available." In response, Jade reached into her jacket, procuring a charred piece of metal, placing it on the polished conference table. It was a partial ID tag, blackened at the edges, the name barely legible. This belonged to Captain Martinez, the last to reach out for aid while bleeding before your eyes. She continued unearthing the small, worn notebook, pages yellow and fragile. "These are our records," explained Jade, each page inscribed with meticulous care under the chaos. Children of gunfire and chaos transformed into testimony. The assembly chamber released a collective breath as pages turned, revealing names, ranks, wounds, radio transmissions cut short, all signed with finality under stormed skies. One name after another fell, stories underscored with valor and stately doom. General Gregory flipped through the fragile pages, his resolve wavering. "These entries are astonishingly thorough," he acknowledged, astonished. Jade's voice was calm and steady, a beacon of certainty amidst the tempest. "I was the communications specialist. It fell to me to enumerate everything." She extracted a final artifact, a radio transmission log penned in military script. "This was the last message transmitted from Captain Martinez to your command post. Raven 12 to command, requesting immediate medevac, 3 confirmed KIA, 2 critically injured. We hold position without aid at designated coordinates. Response absorbed at 13:47 hours advised of grid reroute. Terrain no longer feasible, higher priorities redirected." The general's voice faltered, haunted by a reply he never spoke. I wasn't informed your team endured long enough." "We didn't survive," Jade affirmed, her calm revelation a haunting whisper. "Only I returned." She straightened, authority lacing her stance. "I'm not here to unravel your career, General, nor for vengeance. I'm here so no one disregards the toll of a silent decree. 5 perished, yet I alone carried their remembrance. Today, I wanted you to learn their names." With a slow, deliberate motion, General Gregory rose to his feet, years of leadership culminating in a gesture of respect owed but never anticipated. For the first time, he saluted Jade, a salute not for her rank, but for the untold strength she embodied. The officers, now fully aware of their previous misjudgment, joined in. They recognized the truth of her silent testament, standing at attention not for the hierarchy, but in tribute to bravery, perseverance, and untold sacrifice. Jade, however, did not return the salute. Only a gentle nod acknowledged the recognition she neither sought nor asked for. She turned to leave the room, her purpose fulfilled, leaving behind her notebook and the dog tags, the keepsakes of a history she decided to share. "These don't belong to me anymore. They belong to their rightful place in history," she said softly, before stepping through the door back into the anonymity she had always preferred. As Jade remained at the base, continuing her work with logistics and technical support, a subtle but meaningful change swept through the people around her. They greeted her with newfound respect, aware of the silent burdens she bore. She was approached with invitations to speak at prestigious events, leadership conferences, veteran memorials, service graduations, celebrations that sought to profit from a story no biography could truly capture. Each time, she declined thoughtfully. "Let those who didn't return speak through our actions and service," she would assert quietly. Unbeknownst to most, within her nondescript locker lay materials bearing intimate connections to the past. Letters received from families of her fallen comrades over the years, packed with gratitude and ineffable sorrow. Among them, small tokens lay nestled. A battle-worn patch that once adorned Sergeant Williams, a challenge coin, a ribbon with delicate initials. These items, cherished and hidden away, composed her unique memorial, a private sanctum beneath institutional walls. The base's response mirrored a whispered promise. They installed a simple memorial wall near the main entrance, unequivocally honoring Raven 12, its emblem a subtle yet profound reminder of those who held the line. She walked it home. No extravagant ceremonies, no dazzling headlines followed. Just silent acknowledgement and acknowledgement. Recognition of their supreme act of valor. Meanwhile, General Gregory, moved to rectify his strategical legacy, posthumously amended official records to reflect the sacrifice of Raven 12. From his own pocket, he quietly funded the memorial, nurturing the truth that the system had initially neglected. And then, one unremarkable morning, Jade disappeared. A note was the only trace she left behind. "I'm not vanishing, merely setting the truth in its place. My mission stands complete." No grand departure or farewell. No hue or cry. Her workstation barren, her presence missed but understood. With time, whispers circulated. She had requested a transfer, moving to another unmentionable station where logistics and tactical acumen would benefit yet remain unnoticed. At her former base, soldiers began quietly congregating by the modest memorial wall, particularly around October 15th. No words exchanged, but each presence testified to unsung respect. Quietly, they honored the unseen and the fallen. Every year, on the anniversary, 6 humble flags fluttered in the breeze for Raven 12's memory, a floral tribute to their courage. Jade's story wasn't just shared only in accolades. Soldiers like her, still overlooked, still shadowed, recognized the deeper threads interwoven in silence. Those invisible threads continued to stitch intricate narratives where salutes did not matter, but actions born from remembrance did. Her legacy lived on, a gentle reminder that quiet virtues surpassed loud accolades, reminding us admirably that dignity knew no audience, that valor spoke across silent realms, resonant with purest authenticity. Jade's departure from the base did not signal the end of her story. Rather, it was the beginning of a new chapter defined by continuity and purpose. As she transitioned to another undisclosed location, she seamlessly resumed her role in logistics, applying her adeptness and skill with the kind of precision only lent by experience. The essence of her life, the disciplined routine, the silent service, the unsung dedication, remained unchanged. Yet this time, her story, while unheard, was silently acknowledged by those she left behind. Reports circled discreetly through military channels about a logistics officer who arrived before the break of dawn and left long after the sun had set. A subtle shadow ensuring that operations ran flawlessly beneath the radar. Her identity, while cloak and dagger to most, became an open secret shared and revered in quiet camaraderie among those who recognized the mark of her handiwork. Soldiers whispered of sightings at obscure outposts where an exceptionally skilled coordinator preferred solitude over publicity, and where her meticulous attention became the lifeblood of an undisclosed base. Meanwhile, back at the tactical base Bravo, life carried on, yet with an indelible change. Those who had once dismissed her presence as peripheral began to see the indelible footprint she had left. Officers often found themselves pausing by the memorial wall, its physical presence a stark reminder of the invisible battles she and others like her continued to brave. Raven 12's unit emblem became more than just another military badge. It developed into a quiet nod to bravery and silence, a salute to fortitude in fragmented whispers. An unspoken fraternity began to form. Young recruits, overheard telling her story, carried it forward like a shared secret, gleaned with understanding and respect. They learned from Jade's example, embodying a lesson that greatness often lay not in grand gestures, but in consistent, often unrecognized commitment. The relationships created and strengthened through this bond were rarely vocalized, yet unmistakable. Jade's persistence served as a torchlight illuminating the profound reality that sometimes the most impactful tributes are lived, not spoken. Her silence continued to echo through the base's passages and hallways, where camaraderie often intertwined with respect found rooted in simplicity. Meanwhile, the memorial wall stood witness, a constant across time's flow, its solemn visage offering solace to those introspective moments of deep reflection. Often, especially at night when quiet enveloped the area, soldiers paused before this shrine of remembrance, letting their thoughts spiral into silent prayers for forgotten soldiers. As the calendar turned to October 15th each year, small gatherings would emerge without call or command, as if drawn by memory's pure force. Under the cover of pre-dawn, flags were placed, and silent homage paid to the sick souls and their untold narratives, etched perfectly within the fabric of their comrades' lives. In those quiet hours, Raven 12 became more than an emblem. It became a legacy, a testament to lives lived in service and sacrifice, threaded into the very heart and history of the base and its people. Throughout the military, whispers of Jade and her story transcended borders without scripts or publications. The essence of her life became a living narrative, crafting itself in the halls of training academies and into the hearts of new soldiers, instilling lessons of humility and service beyond self. Her story embodied a deeper understanding that every unseen act of bravery laid the groundwork for lasting change, urging individuals to remember that duty transcended applause and that sacrifice illuminated authentic paths. In those unseen bases, where Jade quietly served, her impact was evolving. Her solitude carved her identity into an unforgettable force, witnessing silenced lives, ensuring histories did not easily vanish amid the noise of political maneuvering or the thundering bravado of saluting voices. Her choice to remain unrecognized spoke volumes. Her true recognition lay within the circles who encountered her silent presence, faculties sharpened by her wisdom and steadfast integrity. Jade's consistency in living her truth, of shouldering memories and honoring legacies through purposeful silence, extended a lesson, enduring through the corridors of service, whispered through the ranks by those who dared to remember what was erased yet not forgotten. With every new base, the unseen hand seemed to suggest that remembering those who could no longer carry their stories meant embracing not only their loss, but their enduring spirit. As such, each base became an altar ground where Jade silently conducted her mission, a testament to loyalty and the unseen narratives reverberating with living insights. Her journey morphed into a poem, each line written in lived moments and unspoken stories lifted up by an unwavering hope. Her vicinity to those unnamed soldiers molded into meaning, layered into purpose. A quiet, sustained act of remembrance long after press clippings yellow and grandstands fade. With each step Jade took, she propelled forward a chain reaction kindling in others' aspirations, gently reminding in her diurnal acts of anonymity that valor, real valor, required no spotlight. It was in the shadows cast by modest deeds, where humility's resonance lingered long after the applause had faded. Within the broader sweep of the military landscape, Jade's presence began interweaving with stories less visible yet deeply impactful. As her journey continued through new assignments and locations, her legacy carved paths through unseen terrains, quietly redefining what it meant to serve. The bases where she worked, though varying in focus and command, shared a singular familiarity, a whisper of respect embedded in silent acknowledgement. Jade's reputation trickled quietly into the fabric of military life. Soldiers and officers alike took note of her unwavering discipline and the consistent excellence that underscored her operational competence. Stories about her spread organically, passed from one recruit to another. Tales of a logistics officer whose proficiency and resolve settled into routine with the seamless precision of a well-oiled machine. Her work endures as a living testament to the resilience and dedication expected in those who serve silently, yet fundamentally. Through these transient bases, her demeanor remained consistent, the same steely resolve found in each task she undertook. This continuity anchored those around her, drawing from her steady presence a source of quiet inspiration and a model of silent strength. In the absence of fanfare, she became a beacon for others, guiding through subtlety rather than spectacle, her actions speaking louder than words ever could. Even though her identity often shaped itself around obscurity, her story filtered into the realm of legend among the rank and file, a shared understanding that those who achieve the most talk the least. Her story began to serve as unofficial training lore, passed down from seasoned veterans to raw recruits. Whispered anecdotes filled with lessons on untold sacrifice and dedication spread, expanding her influence beyond any single post. With time, those around her began to embed these tacit lessons into their routines, cultivating an environment where service was seen as both a challenge and a privilege. The metaphorical shadows she moved within were lit by an unselfish commitment, a craft honed not to grab the attention of admiring crowds, but to ensure that operations behind the curtain ran flawlessly. Everyone who crossed her path might not remember her face, but they seldom forgot her example. A reflection not of meticulous records, but of a dependable rhythm that drove the gears of military operation helped by sightless valor. Her influence stretched beyond the checklists and coordinates. It became a mirror reflecting a critical truth, that the soul's quiet endurance often shone brightest in silence. Those who served alongside remembered her in reflections and idle conversations at mess tables and barracks. Unknowingly, Jade helped guide a developing culture, one where every cog, regardless of recognition or accolade, contributed to the grand machinery of the force with sacred dedication. Each day, she moved along her path with deliberate anonymity, her actions inviting others to contemplate not what was done in pursuit of recognition, but what was necessary for legacy creation. Although intangible, her contributions were not merely about success and efficiency in logistics. They were moments highlighting integrity's importance, silently underscoring how personal commitment could ignite greater collective significance. The soldiers, from every echelon, recognized her as a harbinger of valor. Her silent service became symbolic of the quiet fortitude woven through military ethos. Her continued work in the quiet, untraveled corridors ensured a seamless passage for operations and mirrored the resilience running across generations of soldiers. In such acts of humility, the essence of Jade's legacy remained unspoken, a story without a beginning or an end, mapped by significant yet silent triumphs and persistent truths. Jade showed them honor wasn't defined by the absence of faults, but was forged through the consistent pursuit of the greater good, the devotion to duty, even when worlds failed to watch. Adapting each new role she undertook with seamless transition, her dedication reminded everyone that valor transcends visibility. She became synonymous with a humble legacy of service, a pledge quiet yet resounding, unintentionally urging others in her orbit to uphold the values that guide unwavering duty, pride, and integrity. Jade's journey, though cloaked in anonymity, encapsulated ethical tenets that drove military life. Her life was a silent call to arms, prompting everyone to leave behind a legacy not through eloquent proclamations, but through persistent, principled action. Her solemn narrative, sewn into the essence of their shared humanity, inspired the reflection that, within silence, sometimes lay the purest form of strength.